So again, we started here on the top of Daf Kuf Yud Ches, Omer Aleph, with Tanur Rabbanon, and we're speaking about the fourth of the Daled Kosos. Revi Gomer Olav Esahal V'Omer Hal Hagodol Divrei Rabbi Tarfon V'Yesh Omrim Hashem Roi Lo Echsar. So in the note number Zayin, he quotes the Ein Eliyahu, which I'm not sure who's the author of that sefer. I think it might be the Gaon, and he says that the different parts of this Mizmar, which of course is Tehillim Chav Gimel, refers to number one, Yitzias Mitzrayim, and number two, Halicha Bamidbar. And that's why it's appropriate for the night of the Seder. So I guess he means that Yitzias Mitzrayim is, of course, the main theme of tonight. And Halicha Midbar is, as a result of Yitzias Mitzrayim, we went into the Midbar on the way to Eretz Yisrael. And according to the Eish Omrim, he quotes the Marsha, this capital, Chav Gimel, what we call the Lord is my shepherd, is Halal HaGadol. And later on, he says we're going to try to figure out why it's called Halal HaGadol. Now he says the following. Mehechan Halal HaGadol. Where does Halal HaGadol begin? And we have a bunch of shitos here that we spoke about last time. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Mihodul Hashem ki tov kilom chazdo, ad al naros bavel. So basically that means the entire capital number 136, and we mentioned this last time. 137 is not included. That's according to Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yochanan Omer, Mishir Amalos, and we're really going back now 2 chapters earlier to Kuf Lamed Daled, ad until al naros bavel. So in terms of where you end, there's no debate here between Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yochanan. Everybody agrees that you end with al naros bavel. And in fact, we're going to have a third sheet of Rav Acha Bar Yaakov. He also agrees that we end at al naros bavel. But the machlokas is, where do we begin? And we have the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda that we begin with Hodu. It means at the beginning of that chapter that we're talking about, Kuf Lamed Vav 136. Rabbi Yochanan wants to go back 2 chapters earlier to Shir Amalos Hinei Borchas Hashem, which is Kuf Lamed Daled. And if you take a look at the footnote, he writes that this is all based on Tosfos. Then we have the third sheet is Rav Acha Bar Yaakov, and he wants to begin at what might be the beginning of Kuf Lamed Hey. Alternatively, it might be the 4th pasuk in Kuf Lamed Hey. But in any event, Rav Acha Bar Yaakov is the compromise sheet. He's not on the same page as Rabbi Yochanan, in which case we should go all the way back to Kuf Lamed Daled, Shir Amalos. On the other hand, he's not as advanced, so to speak, as Rabbi Yehuda to start with Kuf Lamed Vav. He's in the middle, Kuf Lamed Hey. So we have 3 shitos. We have Kuf Lamed Daled, Kuf Lamed Hey, and Kuf Lamed Vav. Everybody agrees that Al Naros Bavel, which is Kuf Lamed Zayin, is out of the ballpark. And now we have an extensive footnote here, number Yud, in the name of Tosfos. Now, I don't know if we have to go over this very kind of nuanced and picky issue about exactly where Kuf Lamed Hey begins. But in our apparently in our text of Tehillim, the way we have it printed, this pasuk that Rav Acha Bar Yaakov isolates here as the beginning of Hala Gadol, namely Ki Yaakov Bachar Lo Yisrael, this appears as the fourth pasuk in Kuf Lamed Hey. So we're splitting Kuf Lamed Hey into two parts. However, apparently, Rav Acha Bar Yaakov had a different breakdown of the Kapitluch of Tehillim, according to which Kuf Lamed Hey begins with the pasuk Ki Yaakov Bachar Lo Ya. Now, if anybody has the time and the effort, I can't do this right now. If you could open up Tehillim, or even better, if you could open up a siddur, and the modern siddurim will tell you where each section begins. Again, if you have a Sefer Tehillim, that would also do it. And if you could tell me, where do they tell you Ki Yaakov Bachar Lo Ya Yisrael? Where is that in Kuf Lamed Hey? And I suspect that they're going to tell you that that's the fourth pasuk in that chapter, Kuf Lamed Hey. All right, you'll keep me posted, but you'll have to unmute yourself.
I'll tell you, that's what I have. Kuf Lamed Hey, pasuk Daled. That's where it is.
And John, tell me, where does the chapter begin? What pasuk begins that chapter according to our text of Tehillim?
Hallelujah, hallelujah, et Shem Hashem, hallelujah, Avdei Hashem.
So we're talking about the praise of the Avdei Hashem, of the servants of Hashem. Is that correct?
Sha'om din beveis Hashem bechatzot beit Elohim.
So it makes sense that when David HaMelech speaks about the choice of Yaakov, and here Yaakov represents the Knesset Yisrael, he does so within a broader context of Avdei Hashem, meaning we are the children, the descendants of the Avos, and the Avos were Avdei Hashem. So we begin the chapter with the praise that's extolling the Almighty from the Avdei Hashem. I'm just wondering, according to Rav Acha Bar Yaakov, those four psukim, or shall we say those three psukim at the beginning, that appear at the beginning of Kuf Lamed Hey in our Sefer Tehillim, where does he attach them? And I suspect he attaches them to Kuf Lamed Daled. So if you could turn back a little bit to Kuf Lamed Daled, and if you could tell me what's the first pasuk in Kuf Lamed Daled, and what's the last pasuk in Kuf Lamed Daled?
The Kuf Lamed Daled is just three psukim, and the last pasuk is Yivarech Hashem Mitzion.
And what's the first pasuk?
Shir HaMalech Nini Baruch et Hashem Kol Avdei Hashem.
So that's very good, because I begin to see why Rav Acha Bar Yaakov would attach the first three psukim of what we call Kuf Lamed Hey and tag them on to the end of Kuf Lamed Daled, because the opening pasuk that sets the tone and the motif of Kuf Lamed Daled is the Avdei Hashem. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, the beginning of Kuf Lamed Hey really should be attached to Kuf Lamed Daled, because the beginning of Kuf Lamed Hey addresses the issue of Avdei Hashem. Okay, then. Now, one last question. In the Siddur, do we have Kuf Lamed Hey in the Siddur? I believe we do, but I don't have. if you have a siddur, maybe you need a nusach sfarad. Nusach sfarad on Shabbos adds a lot more to the Pesukei de Zimra than nusach Ashkenaz. So I'm not sure if Kuf Lamed, but you need one of those siddurim. What's that siddur, that modern siddur? You know what I'm talking about? What's it called? I don't even own one, but they use it here very often. It has Yom Ha'atzmaut in the back, so it's good for the Dati Lumi community. Do you know which siddur I'm talking about?
That's not the RCA?
No, not the RCA. It's
You mean the Koran?
it's a siddur. It's called Koran. No.
The Koran, right?
Oh yeah, is it called Koran?
No. You mean Rinat Yisrael?
Rinat Yisrael. That's it. Thank you, Jeff. I owe you one big time. Rinat Yisrael. You have a copy of Rinat Yisrael by any chance? Because in Rinat Yisrael, I think also could be in Jonathan Sachs's Koran siddur. They tell you also, but in Rinat Yisrael, I'm absolutely positive they tell you which number of Tehillim that we're reciting. But the only thing is, you might need a Nusach Sfarad one, maybe. I don't know. But if you open up to the Rinas Yisrael Siddur, see if you find Kuf Lamed Hey anywhere because they tell you which chapter in Pesukei de Zimra comes from which chapter in Tehillim. You have one, Jeff? You have a Rinas Yisrael?
No, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay. All right. So, again, if you have the Koran, it might appear in the Koran as well. I don't know if... I'm pretty sure in the Koran also they tell you. Actually, I may have a Koran siddur. 1 second. I got it as a gift from somebody. Let's see if I can dig it up. Hold on a minute. Yeah, I got it. I got this as a gift. I don't even remember who gave it to me. Like some organization gave it to me. Okay, let me just flip through these pages and see. I'll tell you. Okay, so Hodul Hashem Kitov, he has here Kuf Lamed Vav. So that's the Shita of Rabbi Yehuda. Hodul Hashem Kitov, and that's Kuf Lamed Vav. Okay, what else do we have over here? Oh, we have Kuf Lamed Hey. Okay, now let's see what goes on Kuf Lamed Hey here in the Siddur. Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Shem Hashem. Hallelujah, Avdei Hashem. She'omdim v'beis Hashem v'chatzos beis Elokeinu. Hallelujah, ki tov Hashem zarmu l'shmo ki na'im. Ki Yaakov bachar lo ya Yisrael esgulaso. So that is Pasuk Daled in Kuf Lamed Hey. And what Rav Acha Bar Yaakov is going to do is he's going to take the first 3 psukim of Kuf Lamed Hey and attach them to Kuf Lamed Daled. Now let's see, does Kuf Lamed Daled appear here at all? I don't think so, but you know what? Let's see. All right, he's got Yud Tes. We've got, again, we got Kuf Lamed Vav, that's Hodul Hashem Kitov. And we have Kuf Lamed Hey, which is Haluka Alu Hashem Hashem. Then we have Lamed Gimel Ranut Tzadikim Vashem. Again, this is Nusach Ashkenaz, Tilim Tzadi Beis is Mizvah Shel Yom HaShabbos, and Tzadi Gimel. Then we have just 1 second. We have Kuf Mem Hey, Kuf Mem Dalet, Kuf Mem Hey, that's Ashrei. Kuf Tes Vav, Kuf Mem Vav, Kuf Mem Zayin, Kuf Mem Ches, Kuf Mem Tes, and finally Kuf Nun. One second. Kuf Lamed Hey. John, do you still have your Tehillim open?
Yes.
So in Kuf Lamed Hey, what is the last pasuk in Kuf Lamed Hey?
Baruch Hashem Mitzion Shochein Yerushalayim. Hallelujah.
Isn't that interesting? Just on the side, if you focus, don't lose the place, but focus your finger on that pasuk. And then if you fast forward, there's a paragraph right before Vayivarach David that we recite every morning. And it has that very pasuk in it. It says, Baruch Hashem li'olam amen v'amen. And it says, Baruch Hashem mitzion shochein Yerushalayim. Isn't that fascinating? It's fascinating to me for 2 reasons. Number one, it's a repetition of what we've already said, but that's only on Shabbos. On a weekday, it would not be a repetition. And the second thing that fascinates me is that out of the entire kapitel Kuf Lamed Hey, they chose the last pasuk in order to create this kind of a collection, if you will, of different psukim from different kapitlah. And it doesn't even go in order, by the way, because Baruch Hashem Elokim Elokei Yisrael Osei Niflos Levado is from an earlier chapter. Very interesting. Okay, so that's what we have here in footnote number Yud. Okay, now the Gemara asks, "V'loma nikra shmo hala gadol." Amar Rab Yochanan, "Mipnei shakadosh baruch hu yoshev berumo shel olam." Okay, Rashi has something to add over here. Umachalik mizonos lechol birya, chol bria. So Rashi quotes the pasuk Tichsiv bein nosein lechem lechol basar. Okay, fine, but that's as far as Mechalik Mizonos L'chol Birya. What's Yoshev Berumo Shel Olam? So the earlier pasuk is no saying lechem l'chol basa. That's called Mechalik Mizonos L'chol Birya, and then the next pasuk says Hodu lekel hashamayim. Okay, so let's see. We have no sein lechel lechol basar, and then we have hodu lekel hashamayim. So hodu lekel hashamayim means that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Yoshe Berumo Shel Olam. I'm not exactly sure. How do you know it's Rumo Shel Olam? It just says Kelb Hashamayim. All right, fine. Somehow the Gemara describes that as Rumo Shel Olam, and yet even in that very high place up in the heavens, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is still down here on earth guaranteeing Lechem L'chol Basar. And he quotes the Marsha, Zeu Dover Gadol, Shakadosh Baruch Hu Yoshe Berumo Shel Olam, Mashgiach al Habrios Hashvelos, Litein L'chol Echad V'Echad Deimach Soro, Ve'al Shem Zen Nikra Halel HaGadol. Wow. So I thought Halel HaGadol is because of all these, how many are there? 26 Hodul Hashem Kitovs, Kili Olam Chazdo, but he's saying, no, it's all the last two verses of this chapter. No saying lech l'chol basar hodul lekel hashamayim. Even though I'm wondering about the order of the two psukim, it would have been logically more correct if they would have switched around the order. So let's look at number Yud Beis. Ein ze rak hazkara shebasof. He's asking our question. That's the last two psukim in a very long chapter. So what makes it Halal Gadol? Just because of those last two psukim. And let's just take a break for a moment and let's look at Ashrei for a second. And what do we have in Ashrei? But there we don't see that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Yoshe Berumo Shel Olam. I guess I don't see it either. I don't see anything about Hodu Lekel Hashamayim. He says the following. Ein zarak hazkara shel basov, el kol 26 psukim shebemizmar zeh poskim b'hodu. Right, all 26 start with Hodu. What does he mean by that? Hodu Lashem Kitov. Kol 26 psukim shebemizmar zeh haposkim b'hodu. It's interesting that the currents it actually quotes our Gemara. So I'm not sure what the Marsha is saying here, but I think he's saying that the Hodu Lashem Kito, which is the first pasuk in Kuf Lamed Vav, is really the introduction to all the psukim here, the 26 psukim. I think that's what he's saying. Shemaskil b'shevach shel hodu le'elokei halokim. Hodu ladonei adonim. Shekulam boim leromem ulegadol HaKadosh Baruch Hu. U'mesayim bekach she'al af gidulaso hu atzmo zon lakol. Moshe Omer B'sof, Nosei Lechem Chalbasa, Kilam Chaz Dodu Lekel Shamayim, Kilam Chaz Sha'af, Shu Yoshev Lamala B'Shamayim, Hareu Mashkiach Al Kol Birya Ubirya Litein Lo Mizonu. Val Kein Kol HaMizmar Nikra Halel HaGodol. Okay, it's not 100% clear to my mind that there's a relationship between all 26 verses and Hodul Hashem Ki Tov. Or Hodul Lekel HaShamayim. Somehow the opening verses of this kapitel relate to the entire kapitel from beginning to end. Uledas hayesh omrim. Now we're going to Tehillim Chaf Gimel. Yesh lomer mizmar Hashem roi lo echsar kori hu hal hagodol lefi she Ramuz bo gamkein dover zeh sh'Hashem mashkiach v'zan l'chol briosa. Where do we see that? Do you see that, John, in your Tehillim Chaf Gimel? You see any mention of God sustaining the world? No.
Really?
Let's go over it very quickly. Hashem roi lo
Well,
echsar binos teshi abitzeni almei menuchos yaleni nafshi yishovev. Well, what comes after that? V'maglei tzedek l'man shemo gam kielech v'gei kol v'zizah roi lo echsar. Well, what comes after that? Can you help me out here? I don't have.
we're in Lama Gimel.
Chaf Gimel. Chaf Gimel. The Lord is my shepherd. I should have a Sefer Tehillim somewhere here, but just look in one place. But...
Nafshi Yeshovev,
Right,
and Chen Maglei Tzedek Leman Shemo.
right. Those say Gam Ki Elech B'Gei Talmovis, right?
Yes, next. Gam Kielech Begeit Samavet.
Lo Rira V'Katri Mali Shivtcha V'Shantcha Hem Yachmuni. What's after Yenachamuni?
Taroch Lebanai Shulchan.
Neged Soroi.
Neged Soroi.
Kosi Roi. Achtov Chesed Yedufuni Kodim. Shavti. I don't see any. What am I missing here? What am I missing? Is there any indication that God is sustaining the world? I'm trying to figure out what the Marsha sees here that I don't see. I guess it has to do with the beginning of the capital. Almei menuchos in Aleni, maybe that's it.
Short note in the article
What?
by Roe.
Roi, maybe the word Roi. Roi means my
By
shepherd.
Roe, my shepherd, God provides and cares for us. Without his benevolence, we would be right. We would be as help. Well, yes, and so God provides and cares for us. Without his benevolence, we would be as helpless sheep. And then by low XR, I shall not just as sheep feel no anxiety because they sees their every need. So to express our complete contentment in the knowledge that God will not deny us any legitimate need.
Okay, I didn't hear everything, Reuven, because there's a technological problem, but I got the gist of it. The gist of it is that God is our shepherd, meaning like just like a shepherd has to provide for the needs of the flock, and they will be lost without him, so too God provides for our needs. Is that more or less the gist of it?
I think
you can send it to me, right?
Yes.
All right. We'll take a picture and send
Yes.
it.
Okay.
Okay, then. So what do we have? We have the Yesh Omrim, and Mizmar Hashem Roi Lo Echsar is also Halagodol. God is providing for us. He's supervising and guaranteeing our needs. Now he quotes the Marsham based on an Alshich, Ram al Kol Goyim Hashem. And this comes from Tilim Kuf Yud Gimel. Although I don't think we had anyone here who said that Kuf Yud Gimel is Halagodol. But he says, Ala Goyim Hukam, Klomar Shagoyim Choshvim, Shekevan Shehu Dar Lamala Eina Mashgiach B'Shvelim Klal, Aval Am Yisrael, Mishabchim LaKadosh Baruch Hu B'Shevach Godol, Shu More Al Gadluso, Sha'af Shu Lamala Mikol HaSaga, right, as it says, Yoshev Berumo Shel Olam, Hareu Mashgiach Al Kol Biryu Belyonim Ubetachtonim Bashgocha Protis. V'chein Kosav HaMalbim Al HaPosuk Gadu Lashem iti uneromamo shmo yachdav. Shal af shu meroma mikol hasaga harei mashgiach bakol. Zeu gadlu. I mean, it's funny because the way he's presenting it here, you might think that Hala Gadol should be Kuflat Yud Gimel or Lamidal. I don't know. Amar Rav Yeshua ben Levi, Hani Esrim v'Shisha Hodu Keneged Mi. This is a good footnote, I think, for us. Right, it says Hodu Liose Shamayim. Let's see. That's probably the second pasuk. Let's see. One second, what do we have here? Shemaskil Hodu Hashem Kitov. Okay. And then he has Hodu Ladonei Hadonim. Okay, he skips one. Umamshich La'osei Hashamayim B'Svuna. Okay, again he skips one. La'osei Hashamayim B'Svuna. And it means Hodu Le'osei Shamayim B'Svuna. So he's basically taking the Hodu at the beginning of the first three verses, and he's attaching them to all the psukim that come later. So that helps us with the Marsha, because we were a little bit confused about this when he says that Kulam Boim L'Romem L'Gadol HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shehu Atzmo Zon Lakol. So I guess we take the Hodu from the beginning and we attach it, then it's like one continuous flow. Keneged Esrim v'Shisha Doros Shebora Kadosh Baruch Hu B'Olamo. Okay. So I don't see anything here in the Rashbam so far. But he says here, not sure who he's quoting here exactly. Maybe the Marsha, I don't know. Mi'yitziras Adam Arishon v'ad Nesinas HaTorah Esrim v'Shisha Doros. So you've got 10 Doros from Adam to Noach, which he enumerates. And he's got 10 Doros from Noach to Avram Avinu, which he enumerates here. So that's 20. And then he's got 6 Doros from Avram until Nesinas HaTorah. That's Yitzchak Yaakov is 3, Levi is 4, Kahas is 5, Amram is 6, and Moshe is 7. Just one second. I guess Avram was counted in the previous 10 Doros from Noach till Avram. So we start with Yitzchak. So Yitzchak, Yaakov, Levi is 3, Kahas is 4, Amram is 5, Moshe is 6. So we've got 10, 10, and 6, all told 26. Lo nasan lem haTorah, lo nasan Torah, Vizono Sam Bechazda. So he's got 26 generations of chesed that only subsist and exist on chesed. Because they don't have Torah, so they don't deserve sustenance. So those are the 26 paragraphs of Hodu in Kuf Lamed Vav. So it's really interesting that we are thanking Hashem not post Nesinas HaTorah, but pre Nesinas HaTorah. That God, you're so great, you're up in the Rumo Shel Olam, and yet you come down to Mashgiach on the Shvelim and support them for 26 generations without their having any merits or any rights to that bestowal of goodness, because they were before the Torah was given. And that makes it into Hala Godel. So with Kabbalas HaTorah, we deserve, so to speak, our mazon min hashamayim if we keep the Torah. Amar Rav Chizda, Maidich Siv, Hodul Hashem ki tov, ki li'olam chazdo. I mean, that's the opening pasuk here in Kuf Lamed Vav. So what's bothering Rav Chizda? Vayaroi lomar hodu ki tov Hashem. So why does it say Hodu Hashem? And then it says Ki Tov. Not sure if I understand the kasha. It should have said, there's another pasuk. In Kuf Lamed Hey, the previous chapter, it says Haluka Ki Tov Hashem. So Haluka means that we have to praise Hashem. And why are we praising Hashem? Ki Tovu. So here also it should have said Hallelujah or Hodu. And it should have said Tov Hashem. So then the name of God, Hashem, is not in the right place here. That's what's bothering Rav Chizda. It should have said Hodu Ki Tov, like the pasuk in Kuf Lamed Hey, the previous chapter says Haluka Ki Tov, and then Hashem. And that would indicate that we're thanking Hashem for Tovas Hashem. Haluka Ki Tov Hashem. But if it says Hodu Hashem first, and then Ki Tov, then it means She'ein Holech al Hashem Ela al tovaso shel ha'anam. Let's see the Gemara of Rav Chisda. Hodul Hashem shegove chovaso shel adam b'tovaso. So gove means to demand like retribution or compensation for something that you did wrong. And Hashem will be gove b'tovaso. What does that mean? Hashem collects his debt. We owe him a debt because we sinned. And God is going to do a chesed. He's going to collect his debt. Minatov shehu atzmo ishpiel. So let's say God bestows upon us gifts, our possessions, and God's going to collect our debts by collecting those possessions. Instead of taking it out on man himself, right? You're familiar with the Yiddish phrase, Solzayne Kapara, right? If you, Chas v'sholom, you get into a, like your car gets hit or something, you know, say, Solzayne Kapara. So Hashem is being gova the chov instead of, you know, whatever he could do to punish you. Instead of that, he takes away your car. Ha'asher b'shoro, ha'ani b'seo, yasam b'beit saso, almana b'tanagol. Kol echad kefi heseg yodo. Ubekach shemafsido mamon, he says, Mechaper al gufo. So that's a great chesed. Hashem takes away his possessions, and that's a kapara for his guf. Al kein omer kosav hodu Hashem. Ki tov. Hodu Hashem sha'ose li olam chazdo. Bechi tov. Now, what's the bechi tov? Bekach shegova min abrios b'tov shenasan lehem. So he takes away that which he bestowed upon them. All right, we'll stop here. Now, let me just ask a question. I'm trying to figure out who's with us. So, Steve is not with us until June 14th or whatever it is. And John, you're not here on Tuesday and Wednesday. What about Tuesday?
Always Tuesday. I can't, yeah.
Right, so you're not here on Tuesday and Wednesday. Jeff, what days are you here?
So I'm here Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, but we're going away on Tuesday.
So you'll be here tomorrow.
Yes,
And John, you'll also be here tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. Now I have to be at about 11 o'clock in Beit Shemesh. So let's just see. Is it possible for us to learn a little bit earlier tomorrow?
it's okay with me.
Like 9 o'clock? Does that work out for you, John?
Yeah, that's fine.
And Ruvain, for you at 9?
Okay, sure.
All right, so just for tomorrow, we'll get together, B'li Neder, at 9. I'll make myself a note of it. And I'll try to work it out that I'll leave at about maybe something like 10:30. So we'll have 9 till 10:30, or maybe I could squeeze it a little longer. Okay, then. And then Tuesday, maybe we'll have to wait. So again, Tuesday and Wednesday, only Reuven, you'll be here. Is that it? Right, one out of
Yes.
one out of 5. All right, so we'll have to negotiate that. But for tomorrow, at least, let's get back tomorrow, and that'll be Mitzvah at 9 o'clock. All right, then? Okay, have a great day.